Look at that knight going back to the corner to survive.
Yeah. Maybe that's what made Wesley so reject it. He saw that actually if he pushes his pawn forward, the black knight retreating to the corner, it looks super ugly for black, but there's no immediate breakthrough. So maybe Wesley thought the threat is stronger than the execution. Keep that idea in his pocket for later. Hope Magnus doesn't defend against that, and it's more likely that pawn push will work with the white rook down there.
Well, Magnus has made a move. He's advanced his queen one square
one
forward.
with the queen.
Yes, but okay, we can still actually do the pawn move that you suggested. That is still in the air.
Still in the air.
And what are the possibilities here? Because now everything needs to be calculated, from pushing a pawn forward to attack a knight. That would be something.
There's one small trick in the position. Actually, just while Wesley thinks we just have to show this one trick, I think the most natural move is to push forward, trying to eliminate this black knight. But Magnus Carlsen, his trick, this trap that he set for Wesley, is that suddenly he can play knight takes pawn. And after knight takes knight, suddenly we realise why Magnus Carlsen has put his queen on this square. We do see the teamwork with the queen and the bishop again. And suddenly, after queen takes pawn, the queen defended by black's bishop, this is checkmate. White's king is trapped. So that is the small trap in the position. White should not be tempted to pick up this pawn and push it forward. That would actually backfire very quickly. So the most natural move is flawed. But the fact that Wesley's thinking about it means that he's seen this trap.
Yeah, and I actually expect White to push the pawn and destabilise the knight.
This one?
Yes.
Yeah, very, very tempting.
Because now, if you try to take with the queen...
Yep.
Yeah.
Queen takes.
Well, then you can see the white rook has a hidden eye line to the queen, and instead we can just...
Yeah.
Oh, it's on the board, David.
OK, so actually we might see this happen. Actually, in this position, I think White can just win in simpler fashion. White can just push this pawn forward, attacking the queen and attacking the knight with a double attack, a fork. So wow, Magnus Carlsen, he's reacted by bringing his knight to the side of the board. He's really trying to erode this knight, trying to kick this knight away so that he can get a counterattack along this diagonal. But it looks a distant dream. White's knight will just stay where it is. Or maybe he can even just trade it off. The knight defends this pawn, and once black eliminates that knight, White can just defend. As long as he defends this key pawn, I think White is almost winning. The rest of the position just too perfect for White. There's too many threats here. Black's bishop under attack, Black's king position under attack by some pawns. White also maybe threatening to checkmate with his own... he has his own checkmating ideas, essentially. So we do see Wesley trade a set of pawns. Let's go back to the players, because right now it is a bit chaotic. Will we see... Actually, OK, we're going to see it on the board happen, I think, because if Magnus plays rook takes pawn right now, Wesley might give up his queen, and I think he would win by doing that. He would actually play queen takes rook. We'll see if that happens, but Magnus, he's in big trouble. I think he's maybe underestimated Wesley's last move.
All right, thinking he has gone under 2 minutes, Magnus Carlsen. He won the first game. Wesley so is about to make a comeback, tying the match again. All right.
We're going to see it, David.
We're going to see it. White can now actually play queen takes rook. He gave up his queen for a rook, and now the knight's jumped in with a fork. Black's king and queen attacked at the same time. Black had to move his king away from the check. Black's queen getting eliminated. And count the pieces. White is simply a rook for a knight up. So all White needs to do is defend his king's position, and on the board, he's got extra material. The white rook is going to be way stronger than the black knight in the next few moves. It's long-term.
Yeah, all White needs to do is just defend the pawn that's under attack. You can see the light-squared bishop and the knight are coordinating on one square, and there you go. Wesley steps forward with his rook, and the pawn is covered.
Yeah, so Wesley just defending everything with his pieces. Magnus bringing his last piece into the action, but maybe just too little too late for black. Just down on points, and sometimes that's enough. If you can't complicate things, if you can't get an attack going, and it's going to be tricky without queens, then eventually, surely, the black knight will be kicked back, and then the white rooks will take over. With that last move, just getting his bishop out of the way of White's rooks, Wesley is planning to step his two rooks, stack them up, line them up together, and yeah, Wesley displaying very calm technique there. Magnus also, he's looking calm on the camera, but inside he must be thinking, he never even got into this game. He never really had a chance. Wesley showing, well, very powerful display so far from Wesley So.
Yeah, I think it's a repetition of Game 3, where Wesley just plays perfectly. You know, he has the optimal strategy. He confuses Magnus from the opening, and then he just keeps applying the pressure, building an attack. And Magnus, no chance whatsoever.
He nearly never lets it slip when he gets the advantage, Wesley So. And yeah, right now, Magnus, we see him leaning back. Suddenly, it's actually hard for black to find a move here because you don't really want to trade rooks on the open line, so you can't move the bishop away in front of black's rook. Allowing a trade feels counterproductive. You need to keep black's rook on the board if you want to save this game. The black knight, it looks active, but it can't retreat to any...
No, I was going to say, the knight is trapped.
Yep.
You know, you can just visualize a scenario where the white king gets out of the way of the light-squared bishop, and then, you know, control a square and then push a pawn, and the knight can't do a single thing. And, well, Magnus has been forced to just mess around with his rook. He's not getting anywhere.
Yeah, actually, Magnus just lost time with that maneuver. He brought his rook last move to the centre. Then next move, he had to move it back away from the middle of the board. Wesley getting the white king out of the eye line of that of black's light squared bishop, as Jovanka predicted. Black's bishops, they're controlling a lot of squares, but that black knight, it's just got nowhere to run away to. Sooner or later, I'm not sure, I don't think now is the right moment, but sooner or later, you'll just push forward a pawn and attack the black knight and trap it. Right now, if you push that pawn forward, the black knight can actually jump into the position, giving check, so you don't want to do it yet, but...
I was just thinking maybe you could be sneaky and try to do it with a bishop.
Mm-hmm. That would be very sneaky.
Yes.
Jovanka.
We like it, don't we?
Yeah, so right now, lots of choice for Wesley. So, I mean, the most logical, OK, he pushes forward with a pawn. Magnus desperately trying to cause chaos and confusion on that left side of the board, just trying to distract Wesley. So from trapping the black knight, it does look like it should be doomed.
Yeah. But one thing that you have to notice about white's pawn structure and black's pawn structure on the left side of the board is that white should not be tempted to make moves like pawn takes pawn. Don't be doing anything like that. Keep those double pawns intact. And the way you do that is basically by supporting the pawn that is under fire with your bishop. Make sure that black has those double pawns. And there you see it. Wesley is putting that idea into action. And that's a very, very important concept.
Yeah, very important there. You need, if you look on the C line, there's a lot of stuff on the C line, a lot of pieces there, but black has these two pawns getting in each other's way. So those two pawns aren't necessarily better than one pawn. That's why you need to leave them as they are. So black's bishop trying to undermine that black's rook, sorry, trying to undermine the white bishop. The white bishop simply stepping back. Look at white's bishop. It's eyeing up the black knight now. The black knight's defended, but it's going to become a huge target. Magnus continuing his active defiance here on that left side of the board. He's just continuing to try and distract Wesley from the real action on the other flank. But it has come at the cost of a pawn. Magnus gave up a pawn. He had a pawn advantage as black on that left flank, but now it's back to 2-2 in terms of number of pawns. Black's bishop created a threat, but getting kicked back. And yeah, Wesley just increasing the advantage step by step, slowly. He's not rushing. This is very instructive by Wesley. So he's not rushing to win black's knight on the side of the board. He knows that knight's not going anywhere. He's just improving, just dealing with the left side. Now he'll maybe consolidate again, improve his bishop. Wesley's light-squared bishop, that looks a bit blocked in by its own pawn. So improve that piece maybe. Yeah, slowly but surely.
But Magnus doesn't look too stressed out, too annoyed. Is it poker face? Is it not giving away that he hates this? Or is he hoping maybe to put Wesley in some trouble? Does he have any sort of hope here?
Well, the thing is... Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Well, the thing is here in this type of position, Magnus knows that Wesley has the upper hand. He knows that ultimately the best result is basically he's going to lose. So what can you do? What is the use of getting angry or frustrated with yourself? Much better just to kind of smile and see this position as a challenge and just ask yourself, you know, can I survive this? How can I make my opponent's life difficult? And when you have that positive mindset, it becomes much easier, first of all, to accept that you're going to lose, and secondly, accept that there are chances in the position. And, well, we have some moves on the board, and Magnus is desperately trying. We can just see him. He's trying to swap off rooks. He's trying to trying to put his pieces on active squares. Unfortunately, his material deficit is too much. But, you know, that's the best kind of thing you have to do. You don't give up.
Stranger things have happened, yeah. So we did see that trade of rooks. Black's knight now finally not trapped. That's why Magnus allowed the trade of rooks in order to get the black knight back into action. And he has won back one of white's pawns. I would expect to see here Wesley just retreat with his bishop, attacking Black's knight, destabilizing. Magnus just resigns. He doesn't even try to defend material down in this position.
Wow, drama in the final of the FTX Crypto Cup. Magnus Carlsen winning the first game. Wesley So striking back immediately, winning game 2. So they are still tied with 2